People are different. We look different, we sound different, we think different. We come from different kinds of families. Some of us have a mom, and some of us have a dad, and some of us have both or neither. Some of us have no siblings, and some of us have 1 or 2, and some of us have 10. We write with different hands. Right-handed people are known to be more logical, organized thinkers and good with math and sciences, while left-handed people are known for being more artistic and creative. We have different types of brains. Some of us are natural scholars, while others of us struggle just to get through basic courses. We are different. And I started wondering, is there a hidden association between these different traits? I'm left-handed and I'm a middle child, and I'm a pretty good student. Is there a link between the hand I write with and my grade point average? Or between my grade point average and my middle childness? Or how about between my middle childness and the hand I write with? To find out, I designed a study where I'd survey random peers at my high school about their families, their dominant hand, and their GPA. Then I'd analyze the data for independence. I did 4 chi-square tests for independence, 1 between your dominant hand and your birth placement, 1 between your dominant hand and your GPA, 1 between your birth placement and your GPA, and another between your parents and your grade point average. Is there an association between the hand you write with and your birth placement? We looked at left-handed and right-handed students, and we asked them if they were the only child, the youngest child, the middle child, or the oldest child. A chi-squared test gave a value of 8.17 and a p-value of 0.0425. At an alpha of 0.05, there is evidence to reject the claim that there is no association between dominant hand and birth placement. Is there an association between the hand you write with and your GPA? Students were divided into left and right-handed groups, and their GPA was recorded. A chi-squared test gave a value of 1.64 and a p-value of 0.6496. At an alpha of 0.05, there is evidence to fail to reject the claim that there is no association between dominant hand and GPA. Is there an association between birth placement and grade point average? Students were asked their GPA and if they were the only, youngest, middle, or oldest child. A chi-squared test gave a value of 3.5 and a p-value of 0.7437. At an alpha of 0.05, there is evidence to fail to reject the claim that there is no association between birth placement and grade point average. Is there an association between parents and students' grade point average? Students were asked what their grade point average is, and if they lived with both parents, one parent, a parent, and a step-parent, or if they had a different living situation. A chi-square test gave a value of 23.17, and a p-value of 7.4 times 10 to the negative 4th power. At an alpha of 0.05, there is evidence to reject the claim that there is no association between parents and grade point average. From the test, we can make 4 assumptions about Reese Puffer High School students. There is an association between your dominant hand and your birth placement. There is no association between your dominant hand and your grade point average. There is no association between your birth placement and your grade point average. And there is an association between your parents and your grade point average. I'm not surprised by the lack of association between dominant hand and grade point average and grade point average and birth placement. But I am pretty surprised by the association that came up between dominant hand and birth placement. I think part of that might have been because of the small sample size, and I think that if the sample size was larger, the outcome may have been a little bit different. I think the association between parents and grade point average is interesting, and I think it should be investigated further, but I think it's safe to conclude that most of these traits are independent.